I'm excited. We have a lot less stress today because this one thing that happened with our chickens. Well, it worked. Everybody has pretty much stopped pecking each other, except for a little pecking in the other coop, where the dominant Rhode Island, the one at the very top, pecks the poor old nutmeg who's at the very bottom. But these girls in here, no problem. The barred rocks are out of the situation. The bully birds are out of the situation. We talked about bully birds in one of our other videos. And it looks as though everything has returned pretty much to peace and harmony in both flocks. And the cool thing is everybody started laying again. So once these girls got used to this coop over here, they started their normal laying routine. And they don't mind the dog. They're used to him. They've been around him their whole life. So him running circles around the coop here is no big deal. That does not interrupt their laying process.
You a little worn out? It's 90 degrees out here already. Go get a drink. Silly dog.
So these girls have also returned to their normal laying habits, producing the same amount of eggs that they did before the whole pecking issue came up. And like I said, besides a little pecking from the strongest hen to the weakest hen, there's no problem. And both breeds are separated. So I did hear from a subscriber, thank you, can't remember your name, but I did hear that barred rocks can be bullies a lot of the time. And I didn't know that because they are such prolific egg layers, they're not broody, they are great with people, they're bullies to other birds. Now, that happened. And so just be aware that if you get barred rocks or mixed barred rocks into your flock, they could become bully birds. But these girls are chilled now and the other girls are chilled. I'm so thankful for that. So if you pay attention to your flock, it's going to make your life a lot easier because you'll be able to stamp out those problems very quickly and it'll give you time to do your other projects. Let's take you around the property and show you what we got going on. Well, of course, we've got our greenhouse project and we are going to be releasing that video, at least the first one soon, which is basically putting up the structure. So that's pretty easy. And I actually did it by myself and you can do it too. And that's part of the intention of the video, is to show you how to do it, but to tell you that you can do it with one person, which is pretty neat. So I don't know about the rest of it and being able to do that with one person, but the structure I was able to do. So the garden is looking pretty good. We've got a couple of issues, like anybody else, of course. Everything is not perfect in our garden, and it never will be. So if your garden is perfect, something's not right, because nothing ever goes perfectly well in a garden. We've got our peppers and eggplants in here that are not looking good because we had that cold spell, and you know, putting the plastic over the top of them helped. They didn't all die, but they're not looking good at all. I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, we've got our tomatoes and peas and garlic and onions and potatoes, all doing well. The strawberries are rocking and rolling. Oh, let's show you these strawberries. It's nuts. We finally got our corn to come up, which was an issue. I think it was the variety of the corn that we had before, or it was the age of the seed. I'm not sure, but we planted corn there before. Nothing came up. it was also pretty cold and they got cold again. So right after that cold snap, this popped up really, really fast. And we've got our three sisters in here. We've got corn and beans and squash in that back corner, all growing together in that method, that Native American method, which works really, really well. I really love the salvia plant, member of the sage family, huge attractor for pollinators. They're all over it all day long. It's awesome. And, you know, I've got my collard greens going to seed over here, just leaving them because it attracts pollinators, and I'll get a ton, thousands and thousands of seeds from just one or two plants. It's really cool. And check it out, check it out. Raspberries are starting to flower out. That's awesome. We're gonna have a lot of raspberries again this summer. Can't wait.
I can say one thing, these peas are really loving this new spot, this new garden area that I created. Look at all the peas. This is amazing. The garlic is looking great, and honestly, it's getting very close. Some of these bottom leaves are already starting to turn. Remember, when you're picking your garlic, the two bottom leaves on each side, if they turn brown, it's ready to get out of the ground. And look at our potatoes. They are looking like they're growing really, really fast, and they're starting to yellow a little bit. So I think I'm going to be harvesting potatoes in short order, probably in the next couple of weeks.
So check out our onions. They're doing weird stuff this year. These are flowering out already, and the bulbs really aren't developed. We've got some other onions that are younger that we planted over there after that big swing in temperatures, but I think that's what's making these onions do odd things. I mean, they look pretty decent, but they've got small bulbs. That cold temps that we got, the warm temps, back and forth, that cyclical nature of just this year of having those really odd temperature fluctuations. Hey, and that's all you can do in your garden, is always just take the cards you're dealt with, or you're dealt, and play with them. So something happened the other day where I've made a lot more work for myself here on the homestead. I had a gentleman stop by the fence. He was a contractor for our power company. He said, we've got to come trim the trees around the lines. And our line is separate, and it comes into our property and then splits off to the barn and the house. And it was an issue because there were leaves touching it, and there was smoking of leaves and stuff like that. So if it wasn't the rainy season right now, quote unquote, in Texas, we'd have probably a potential pretty serious fire problem. So they came in with this big massive machine and just took everything off this line, everything down that was hanging on it or touching it. They cut it to about 10-12 feet high. And I said to the guy, I said, hey, what are you going to do with all of the limbs that you guys cut down on the power lines right here? And he's like, well, we have this mulching machine. We just come in and roll over it and it just mulches everything up. I said, okay, that's cool, but that's going to tear up the property pretty bad. And he's like, yeah, it does. And I said, just leave it. Just leave it there for me. I have a chipper, a brand new chipper, and I'm going to use it to chip, or I'm going to use the chips that I'll chip for mulch around all my fruit trees and such. And he said, you really want us to leave it? I said, sure, why not? Leave it for me, I'll take care of it. And he says, okay, that'll save me a lot of work. No problem, dude, no problem. And so they got their business done in a good amount of time. So nice guys, nice guys. Usually the contractors aren't very nice, but whatever. These guys were cool, but I have just piles and piles and piles of stuff just laying or limbs just laying everywhere. And they kind of pushed my trees out of the way so they could do their deal. They pushed this tree out of the way right here and kind of cut it up a little bit for me. And you can see the massive pile I got over there. So that's something I need to take care of. And I really, really hope that they didn't cut my persimmon tree. This wild persimmon, I don't think they did. Oh, one, two. They might have taken a couple of limbs off it that were leaning out over our power line. And I knew, hey, so this is a big issue for you guys starting your homestead. If you got any power lines run, I know you want off-grid, but if you buy a property that's powered, and take the opportunity. Don't go off grid if you don't need to right away. Anyway, you have to keep everything 15 feet away from, there's a 15-foot easement on either side of a power line. So the corner of my garden there isn't quite, but definitely this side is right here. So that's a good thing. And I knew that when I built things. I knew I would have to give access to anybody working on these lines at least 15 feet on each side. So keep that in mind if you're setting up your homestead. So we're supposed to get some storms today. I know a lot of people did last night in Oklahoma, tornadoes, hail, crazy stuff in Missouri and Arkansas, and Fort Worth and San Antonio. Man, I'm so blessed that that passed us by. 3-inch hail? Prophetic? Maybe. But we're supposed to get a few storms today, and that will be good for us to cool things off a bit because it's already 92. All right, time for a little homeschool and to get these girls some lunch. So this will wait. That's got to get done, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day. Bye.